The Diecast International Builders have invited the community to participate with them in an Impala build. That ugly thing you see there is a Hot Wheels 65 Chevy Impala. Yeah, I'm gonna make some changes to that. Everything on this seems to be working against me. Yellow glass, yellow chrome or gold chrome. The wheels are just, yeah. Anyhow, before we get into that, I'd like to give a shout out to my Patreon supporters. I'm sending out some stickers to you guys, and that's what you're getting in this mailing. Some of you may have received this already, but I was pretty happy with these darn little stickers, and I'm going to do more of these in the future, so stay tuned. And now back to the build. Anyhow, this thing, I should have realized right there a little piece of it broke off, and I ended up gluing that back in later. I do not show you everything I do on this build because there's a lot of kicking and screaming that happened on this one. Yeah, I forgot to mention the yellow interior too. Yeah. Anyhow, the part of this build that I thought was going to be the toughest was going to be the paint. And that actually worked really well. It was the other parts of it that just wanted to fight me for some reason. So while it's going through the typical steps here at the start, I'll just say briefly that the biggest problem was that glass. I thought I had a different glass I could swap into this, and search as I may, I didn't. So I got a sample glass, or scrap glass, thought let me try painting metal cast the smoke color on it, and it worked great on the sample, on the little scrap piece. So then when I went to do the glass for this one, it just crazed the plastic, and I sanded it down. I tried all kinds of things. They just weren't working. And so then I ended up going over it with some Citadel paint and clear coating it. And that's where we ended up on the glass. So hopefully it doesn't look too terrible, but that was definitely the thing that bit me on there. There you see I've cleaned up the casting a little bit, and it's not quite done. Here I'm just popping the wheels out of this thing. I mean, that gold base is just putrid. I'm throwing in some Samed wheels. I know I say Samed wheels a lot. They are not a sponsor of the channel, but I end up just buying a boatload of these wheels. And so I recently got another little batch of them. They're, compared to other wheels, relatively inexpensive, but you know, you start doing enough of these builds and it starts adding up. So anyhow, they're a good source though. There's that putrid yellow interior. Anyhow, there you see where I love these wheels on here. I've done an Impala a while back, and I put kind of a lowrider paint job on it. I used fingernail stencils on that paint job. I think it was a 3-blind mice build, actually, thinking about it. Did not want to head down the exact same path on this one, although I did find some lace that I almost used on the paint job, but decided against it. And the best thing for me is just to look at the internet and see what's out there. I did have to grind out some of the underside of where the front wheels go to give it a little bit more room. It is a roller when it's done. It's not a pretty roller. Oh, here's another thing that was interesting. You notice there's the Super Clean. It's not very purple. I was surprised. And what I guess I didn't realize is Super Clean does eventually go bad. And when it does, it gets more clear. It loses its purple color. I'm not sure if that's from being in sunlight has done it. It's never been in direct sunlight. But I dropped this in there the first time and it didn't strip that gold off worth a darn. So fortunately I have a big jug of the stuff. So yeah, ended up going these two colors. AMC Sterling Silver Metallic, and Chevy Nassau Blue. And you probably will be seeing that Nassau Blue Metallic again. I really want to do a Corvette with it. But on this, I'm doing a two-tone paint job. So I lay down that silver coat. And see, this is what I thought was going to go bad. I masked it off. Absolutely love the Tamiya tapes. You know, they, without fail so far, knock on wood, they work amazingly well. And they did not lift off any of the paint. I was sure that if something was going to go bad on this paint job, it was going to be, or on this build, it was going to be the paint job. And I couldn't have been really any happier with this two-tone paint. This is rattle-canned. You know, this isn't airbrushed. And it worked well. I ended up doing these details off camera, putting in the red taillights, and I put a white dot on the centers on both sides for the backup. And yes, if you look closely, I did paint the Chevy emblem blue. This was another part that bit me, and I think this problem, the Molotow pen, and you've heard me sing the praises of the 2mm Molotow pencil, or a paint pen. It works usually fantastic. And this time, it wasn't good. And so there you see I added details on the front too, the headlights and turn signal markers. Did that off camera because I was grumpy. But yeah, the Molotow pen, I think it was the humidity. It just wasn't laying down well. And so it turns out okay. But I don't know, there were just a little, none of it was bad. I'm happy with the finished build. But there were just these little nagging problems. So to cheer me up, I know, you're like, oh my God, another stupid tiny license plate. But I love the little license plates. And this one is a California Bicentennial license plate. So how can you beat that? Threw that on there. I almost put one of the old black California plates because that would be more age appropriate for this car. You know, that's what it was on all the cars when I was a kid. But I wanted to throw one of these plates on here. So that's about all I show of the build. There you can see I painted the interior white. I detailed the seat inserts with a blue that's somewhat similar to the Nassau Blue. I even detailed the base off camera. So, yeah, and I glued that little chunk that came off back on. So I'm sorry I didn't show you more, but yeah, some of the builds just go that way. The glass is definitely dark now, and I think it works. It's not what I wanted, but it works. So anyhow, yeah, shout out to the Diecast International Builders group. You know, this was an interesting build. Let me put it that way. I did have fun with it. You know, I wouldn't be doing this stuff if I wasn't having fun with them. And you know, I may bitch and moan a lot about some of these things, but you know, they're halfway funny when they happen. You know, it's you can't take any of this stuff too seriously. I mean, these are little cars. These are toys. You know, this Hot Wheels car, what, cost $1? You know, the rattlecan paints I'm using on it, I got on clearance. You know, probably the most expensive part of the build is those wheels. So anyhow, there you see the end result. And got the turntable shot and glamour shots coming up. I think this is an improvement from, yeah, where it started. That thing is just disgusting. I mean, I guess if you're a kid, you go, ooh, pretty colors. But, man, I wish they didn't do yellow glass. So there's where it ended up. You can almost, if you look closely, you can see some of the crazing on the glass. I did put a clear coat of polyurethane over that, and it still It still didn't pull out of it perfectly. But I'm happy with the build, don't get me wrong. It's just, I don't know. I wish some things had gone a little bit better. Anyhow, thanks again to the Diecast International Builders. Please check out all of their builds. I'm sure they will have, Diecast International Builders or DIB in the subject line of their videos. They will be doing a recap video, I believe, as well. So be sure and check that out. I can't wait to see all of the other Impalas that are done. And special thanks also to my Patreon supporters for all of their help in doing these builds. And thanks to all of you for watching these videos, all of your encouraging comments. And I hope you have as much fun watching these things as we do building them. Everybody stay safe and healthy out there. And look at Scrappy the shop truck. That might be an upcoming sticker. Who knows? Catch you in the next one.